Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here. Before we get into our podcast, just want to do a quick shout out for Inspection Manager. What an amazing inspection app platform that they have. And they're really excited at the moment with their tenant assisted routine inspections, where your tenants, in the convenience of their own time frame and in the convenience of their rental property, they can be getting you through the app inspections, their own inspection or their own photos that they've done. Now, this is going to help you, particularly if you're in lockdown. But what we've also found as businesses have come out of lockdown, they've found that perhaps they can do maybe one or even two of these inspections a year, aside from scheduling their normal routine inspections. The next step, really go and have a demo, have a look for yourself and make a decision where this could actually work for you too. So go to inspectionmanager.com, request a demo and check it out.
Hi everyone, it's Deniz Yusuf here, and we are here with Darren Hunter from Inspired Growth Training, and this is the BDM Coach podcast show. Now, this is part two because Darren and I were conversing and there was so much conversation going on. I was throwing scripts at him that he didn't know. Darren, as we know, you are the king of scripts and dialogues, and I thought I would throw some curveballs at you. And I've got to say,
I wasn't ready for them. It's like, oh my goodness. I haven't heard that
handled them well.
I'm just doing the dance. I've just got to make stuff up on the spot.
If anyone hasn't seen Darren dance, I'm sure I've got some photos I could send through to you of him dancing. But you danced around the dance floor really well with those scripts I threw at you. And I threw a couple of really good curveballs. So everyone, make sure that you go back one session, and because this is session two. This is session two. This is a second podcast recording. We had no idea that our scripts and dialogues was going to be so full. We just basically sat here and we've gone through a handful more, but we needed to split it in two because it was becoming too long.
So I guess everyone, if you got to go and listen to the first part first, because this is part two. So don't miss out on that. Go listen to that, then come back and listen to this.
Now, Darren, I promise you won't get anxiety with the scripts and dialogues that I throw at you on this one, okay? But it's going to be good. But let's have a bit of a recap. You know, we spoke about matching fees. We spoke about cheaper agents. We spoke about the importance of knowing your points of differences. And it's all about that self-worth, knowing how good you are so you can sell yourself, over the other agents. Because our job as real estate agents, whether we're a BDM or whatever you want to call yourself, as a real estate agent, once that new business inquiry comes in, you are now a sales agent for property management. Your job is knowing how to negotiate. Now, can I just say some of the best negotiators out there are property managers. I don't care what anyone says. You can quote me on this. The best property managers are the best negotiators. They negotiate with tenants and landlords and tradespeople and photographers and sales agents, everyone so well. Let's talk about some examples of negotiating. Negotiating the tenant, they've got to pay the rent on time. Negotiating the tenant that they need to come and have a look at their property, not the rival agents that's got another property for rent. Negotiating with the tenant that need to move in quicker. Negotiating with the tenant that can't have 15 dogs, 6 cats, 3 rats, 2 mice, 4 spiders, a raccoon, and a koala, a crocodile, and 16 cats.
And a hamster.
And a hamster. Let's throw the hamster in there as well. And they can't have the 4 caravans on the driveway and the 6 boats. And they can't have their uncles and aunties over every night and disturbing their neighbours. There's a lot of negotiating. They've got to negotiate to get that plumber to the property to fix something. Negotiate to get that the air conditioning fixed, or to the tenant to allow the tradespeople in, or the owner, you can't go visit the property without our permission, or whatever it is. Property management is really built around negotiation, and it starts from the beginning. It starts at the top end when that lead comes in. When you're dealing with those owners, they want to negotiate because life is about negotiating. And we're going to talk about more negotiating today.
Like I say, everyone, go back to the first episode because we talk about the thrill of the deal. People want the thrill of the deal. They want, because you work in real estate, it's all about your fees negotiable. They won't negotiate on the price of Big Mac at McDonald's, or they won't negotiate on an item of clothing at Target, but they'll negotiate with you because because you work in real estate. So you need to understand negotiations, part of the deal. You need to be good at it, have a good response. That's what scripts are all about. Make sure you get the new book that I've just finished writing. It's getting printed. The PMVScriptSecrets.com. That's PMVScriptSecrets.com. It is a free book. It's got over 50 scripts, responses, just to every fee objection you can even think of, plus 34 fees and fee packages charged over Australia, New Zealand, United States. And that's just the fee charges, a minimum amount, the maximum amount that agents are getting for them too. It's a labor of love. It's all my knowledge to do with how to get better and higher fees with new business.
Darren?
And it's the answer to discount. Dennis, it's the answer to discounting.
It is the answer to discounting.
It is the only real book that's ever been written to take on discounting and to reverse the discounting scourge that we've got in property management.
Can I add? When I had my eye operation, I dared not negotiate on the price. I dared not negotiate on the price because, you know, what's he going to do? Oh, I won't put the stitch and hold the eye in place because I've got to save money because Dennis negotiated me down. It doesn't work that way, right? You know, our job, and I know the worth of my eye surgeon. We need to put that same worth in place when you're dealing with these owners. And Darren, one of my very first presentations I ever did, I spoke about having that self-worth when you walk into the door. You know, I used to joke about, you know, when you win the business, I used to feel like I felt like I had the same aura and presence of George Clooney. You know, you won the business, you feel so good. You need to walk into the home. You need to be talking about your services with that same presence. You need to have that confidence in your words because you need to speak from experience. Because when you're talking to the owners and they can feel it, they can sense it, they trust it, and they want to do business with you. And it really then doesn't come down to that negotiating on fees. You know, that's the whole aspect of it. But today we're in part 2 and we are going to throw some curveballs back at Mr. Darren Hunter, the fee script king. So Darren, I'm going to throw one at you, right? I'm just going to throw an example scenario at you, you know, because most of the time when people are dealing with a new potential landlord, there's always 2, maybe 3 other agents involved. Maybe it's only one. It is rare that it's just yourself, but it does happen.
Enough for them to make a decision. And they're now closing in on making a decision.
Yeah.
Only need 2 or maybe 3 agents at most to actually get to that point where, okay, I like you. Let's now talk about price.
So this is a flip. It's not about the price, Darren, but the other agent said they could get a better rent.
Okay. I think we need to again acknowledge they like us because they wouldn't be speaking to us on that level as well. They wouldn't even be mentioning that if they didn't like us. So we're a contention here. But we need to, everyone understand, for every week property is vacant, it's about 2% of the owner's annual rental income. So there's 52 weeks in a year. That's approximately 50. 2% times by 50, well, that's 100%. So for every week a property is vacant, it's about 2%. If it's vacant 5 weeks, that's 10%. That's more than what most agents charge with their management fees. If you're charging 10%, well, that's exactly what you charge in a year. You're now showing them that 5 weeks empty going with the wrong agent is going to cost you our annual management fee. So we've got to make sure it's priced right. And so our script or responses, look, Mr. Smith, agents commonly quote a higher rent to simply seduce you, to influence you over signing with them, and then once you're on board, they'll work you down afterwards, and it could take 5 weeks to get to the point of what a tenant will pay. But it's always the market. It's the tenants. It's the market demand that sets the rent. We need to make sure it's priced right. Otherwise, it's going to cost you a lot. For every week it's vacant, it's going to cost you 2%. It's vacant for 5 weeks, it's going to cost you 10%. That's more expensive than me. You need to make sure you're with an agent that's going to price it right so it rents quickly and not leaving you having sleepless nights with mental anguish and stress because the property's not rented.
So you're showing them how to save the money by getting quicker rent in their pockets earlier. So that's really good. I like that twist.
That's it. So that's in the book. That script is in the book. The other agent will charge me a higher rent. I'm trying to look at I've got 51 scripts, Dennis. I'm trying to look through my contents page and looking which secret it is, but it is in there.
Yeah. And I think it's a really good one. I do like that one. So Darren, it's all about educating and making sure that for an owner to come back and say that the other agents had a higher fee. I used to say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we're always getting agencies that are either coming in and they're offering you a cheap discount just to try and win your business owner. And then there's those agents that are coming in saying they're going to get a higher rent. I'm here because I've got your best interest at heart. I believe this is the rent that we can get for your property. Yeah, we could get a higher rent in a different market, but right now when your property is sitting vacant, I have already done my comparable market analysis. I've shown the evidence of what properties are available. I've shown you the videos on how we're going to market the properties, etc., so we can get that rent in the quickest period of time with the best quality tenant. So you should be saying these things so they're not thinking that the other agency will get high. They should be trusting you again. You should be educating them correctly. So, but it does still happen. And anyone can say we can get a higher rent just to win the business, but then they're going to be negotiating. I don't want to ring you back, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and say, sorry, we've got no inquiries on your property. We need to drop the rent. I want to ring you up and say, wow, we've got 15 inquiries on that property. We've even had someone offer a little bit more, but it doesn't mean they're going to get the property. We're still going to do our full checks, et cetera, et cetera. So, it really comes back to that education. So, Darren, I'm going to throw another one at you, okay? Because it's what I do. But what's the management fee for?
Okay. So that does happen. And I remember, Dennis, we were doing Geared for Growth national tour of 2017. We're in Perth. And I remember there was like huge crowd, sellout crowd, everyone's jammed in the room. Remember, we had that spacing issue.
Yeah.
It was mid-afternoon and I've got to speak off the cuff. If someone throws something at me and the so-called expert can't answer it, it goes down like a lead balloon and I can lose credibility, right? It's a high pressure situation. Someone threw that at me. And so, my response is, and this is in the book, this is one of the secrets. Mr. Smith, the management fee is to cover just the general day-to-day. Actually, Dennis, can we just go back to this? What is the management fee for?
We can. Yeah, that's the same thing, right? What's the management fee for?
Yeah, well, the management fee, Mr. Smith, because obviously the context of what they're saying there, Dennis, is because there's other services being charged as well, right? And is it the other agent down the road not charging those extra services? Is that what they're saying? Is that why they're bringing that up?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that's cool. All right. So, Mr. Smith, look, the management fee is to cover the general day-to-day, looking after your property, making sure the rent's paid on time. However, if the other agent isn't charging for those fees and they're just charging a management fee only, not really charging much for anything else, well, the fact is that with us, they're saying they may have rolled those fees. Dennis, are they saying they may have rolled those fees into the management fee? Is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're questioning all these other things, right? So let's say they're questioning what the, in some states there's a rent collection fee and then there's a management fee as well, right?
Yeah.
So it can be, it's different. But let's say, they've got a one-off, they're just thinking that there's a let fee and then you just collect the rent on their behalf.
Generally get asked this, and this is where I've got a bit stuck. Context is that there's another agent down the road. You're charging a few more add-ons. All right, you might be charging a routine inspection fee, a lease renewal fee, and all this, and this other agent's only charging a management fee and leasing fee only, and not much of anything else. And I think with the context of that, you may get, if they're comparing you against that other agent, they come up, what's the management fee for them? Why are you charging all of these other fees? And the response is, look, Mr. Smith, with us, the management fee covers a day-to-day, it covers rent collection and so forth. And the other fees are added on and charged separately because they are charged if and when those events occur. And by doing and keeping those charges separate to the management fee, we can keep your management fee base really low. Whether it's 7%, 8%, or whatever. And however, if we were to not charge those other fees separately, like a lease renewal happens at a particular time, a routine inspection occurs when the inspection is done at an event has occurred. If those other fees were not charged separately, well, then the management fee is going to have to be really inflated. In fact, we probably have to go and charge double. So if that other agent appears on the surface to be saying they're doing those services, but not actually charging it separately, one really has to ask the question, because if they're not charging them separately and their base is really low, you really need to ask, they're doing those services for free. You get what you pay for when it comes to free. You really need to ask the question, are they really doing those services? And then everyone start talking about stories. We talked in the last episode about having some horror stories where an agent did go with a cheaper agent and had 4 different property managers over a year and had a shocking time and came crying to you 2 years later, sorry, and very, very happy to pay your fees and more, because what they really wanted was peace of mind. Yeah. To know they could sleep at night and not have mental anguish and pain and stress, because that's, at the end of the day, Mr. Smith, that's what people want. And a cheaper agent is unlikely to give you the peace of mind that you're looking for.
Yeah, well said. That's really good. It is very, very good.
You put me on the spot, Dennis.
I did, and I'm doing well at that. And this is keeping it real. It's keeping it raw. It's keeping you fresh. So I'm going to throw something else at you, because, this is all about negotiations. This is all about people asking for discounts. And Darren, I'm the landlord, and I've had, another agency come through. And Darren, I've got to say, they offered, the same rate as you. They offered the whatever it is, let's say it's 10%, just for keep's sake. They offered the 10% plus all these other fees. So, and I really appreciate that. And I'm not saying that you're not worth that, and I think it's great, but they did give me a discount. They offered me a discount. So, what discount can you give me?
Okay, cool. So in this case here, they've dropped their price. So they were at X, and now they're going to charge Y to get it. So they're effectively dropping their price to get that. So in this case here, we've got to understand, everyone, is they've just put on display their negotiation skills, and they're crap because they just dropped. And so we need to use that fact that they've dropped like that against them with using this script. And look, Mr. Smith, if that other agent was quick to panic like that and drop their fees simply because you asked without much effort whatsoever, what do you think that says about their negotiation skills? They've just demonstrated to you how bad a negotiator they are, because if your tenant comes along and wants to negotiate your rent, well, if they just suddenly drop with you, what do you think they're going to do with your rental income? That's why you need to have a strong negotiator. You need the best negotiator and a person that believes in what they provide. And so we will get you the right rent should the tenant want to negotiate. That's why we need to get our full fee.
Yeah, well,
so we're casting doubt, Dennis. You're seeding doubt that they suddenly have displayed their negotiation skills. Like, for example, we've got the election going on, Dennis, and, for everyone in Australia, we got, 2 main parties, either the red or the blue is going to get voted in. One guy at a media conference, one of the party leaders, someone asked him, what's the cash rate? What's the unemployment rate at the moment? He didn't know. And then the other side used that and came out with holes. And Dennis, what's the advert on the radio that you're pointing out to me last night? What's the song they're singing?
It's a song I used to sing as a kid. There's a hole in my bucket, the laser.
And they're not saying a hole in my bucket. They're saying there's a hole in my budget, because they've got no idea. So they're actually using and sowing doubt on this because of this hole. And so if the other agent is quick to negotiate, that is a hole that's been exposed in their facade that you can now come in and just actually point out the obvious about the negotiation skills. So that one there, Dennis, is That was that's secret number 21, script number 5. So everyone, we've actually got over 50 scripts in the book, the PMV Scripts secrets.com. That's pmvscriptsecrets.com. The book is free. All you just got to do is paying shipping, but it is the most comprehensive book on every script that I'm aware of. And maybe in the next few years, Dennis, I might find some more or put it in a revision later on, but it is the most comprehensive textbook on how to overcome the discounting scourge in the industry so you can win your full fees with confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and Darren, we could bring up so many different scripts. Obviously, your book's covering it all, and I don't want it to be about that. I think we've covered a lot of the scripts and dialogues and fee discounting and things that's going on. But it wouldn't be Dennis unless I threw another one at you.
Another one, okay.
Like we've covered everything we've got written, but Darren, there's a company that I've seen on Facebook, and they're offering we will manage the property for you for a flat rate of X amount of dollars. And they do everything for me, etc. You know, versus the property management. So, you know, and they're coming in with cheap fees. They're offering, and I don't want to mention any names of these businesses, right? But you know those businesses that I'm referring to. They're an online company. They believe they can, you know, it's basically they're saying, you know, you can self-manage the property and we'll take care of certain things for you. And it's at a discounted rate, right? Now, we're training agencies that are picking up a lot of business from these companies. We know that, right? We know that, and those companies that are taking business from them have got amazing ammunition from experience of being with them. But how do you overcome that when you're in a house and an owner says, but I saw this ad on Facebook last night?
All right. So this is something straight off the cuff, Dennis.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Darren, I appreciate that you're going to punch me, you're going to hit me, and you're going to kick me because I'm in your house at the moment.
Well, I'm in my office and Dennis is in my kitchen. So
Darren's going to put the pillow over my head tonight.
Okay. So firstly, you need to understand if we've got a situation where you've got an app that's carrying a lot of the service, and the agency is charging a lot less because they're offering less. Dennis, do you remember Purple Bricks? And what happened with Purple Bricks? They came in with this, you know, the commissary, you know.
They did. Darren, I was in London only a couple of months ago, and I saw the sign, and I looked again. I thought they're bankrupt, but they're in England still.
Yeah, they're in England. So you're in England, UK, you saw Purple Bricks, and they tried the market in Australia. They left with their tail between their legs. They did the same in the US. They left with their tail between their legs. But basically, they came in with this, we're cheaper. We're going to charge you a flat rate to sell your home. And, you know, you don't want commissary. But at the end of the day, commission is a big thing. It's a big factor because it means the salesperson is paid to perform. All right. And you need performance. And so the Purple Bricks agents weren't paid to perform. They were simply paid to list the property. And there was lots of problems that went with that. And so really, with that in mind, we get back to, and you need to understand the Purple Bricks problem, okay? But we just get back to the original context that you said, Dennis, with there's an app, they're charging a cheap rate, they've dropped some services out. And look, you know, Mr. Smith, we know in property management, I've been in this game for 10, 15 years, and I know that you can't drop tenant selection, quality tenant selection, because if we get a bad tenant into your property, everything's going to be bad. So tenant selection, that bit can't be. And then tenant induction, well, that needs to be done right. Well, the lease has to be drawn up properly, the ingoing inspection. And so I can rattle off all my services, Mr. Smith, and there's nothing that I can drop. It's a full pizza. And so you're really saying is that you're expecting a cheaper pizza to be delivered to your door or a pizza delivered to your door, but what if it came with 2 pieces missing? It's not going to be a good experience for you. And I guess it's a basic analogy for property management. You can't just drop services out of it. Now, here is my point, Mr. Smith. A lot of these big, you know, companies are coming out with all this technology and apps and all of that sort of thing. The day the tenant pays the rent on time, without question, and the day that they make sure they look after the property, and they leave the property as they found it, less reasonable for wear and tear. The day that happens with every tenant is a day that an app can carry a lot of these services. Until then, you need a fully serviced property manager. My goodness me, let me tell you some horror stories. And so it's just simply understanding out there, people, that these cheaper services, that are dumbed down. You just have to have horror stories around cheaper agents, services being left out. I'm sure you've got a horror story around an application that wasn't processed right, or the ingoing inspection wasn't done right, or routine inspection is not done regularly enough, not done thoroughly enough, or not done at all. You're going to have a horror story to all of those, because if there's any of those services missing or compromised with this cheaper service on the app, you only have to give horror stories, and suddenly they want to sign up with you because they suddenly realize.
Yeah, absolutely. Darren,
how did I do with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't like that one. I don't like you use pizza as an analogy, because that's a personal attack on my favorite food. Okay. But what you did there is you used something I like, and let's say I'm the owner at the time. You used something emotionally attached to me to affect me. You pinpointed on me, so that was good. Well done. There's so many scripts and dialogues that we could be covering. I'll leave you alone. I won't bring up any more, but I think it's absolutely awesome. Again, if anyone's got any questions, you can always reach out to us, through Inspired Growth Training. Go to our IGT Inner Circle, go to our Facebook page, Inspired Growth Training, click on Join Group once you follow the page. Click on Join the Group, answer those questions, and you can ask any questions in there. Darren, just only in there today, twice today, I saw two agents asking for business referrals. They've got an owner that's got a property in a particular area that needs help. They're looking for a new PM. So lots of businesses getting referred to and fro there as well. Darren, we've had you on the BDM Coach podcast show, I think 3-4 times now.
I'm usually the guy behind the scenes doing the marketing, getting it out, because usually in the past it's been yourself and Michael, and you're a great combination. You're great coaches and you're brilliant coaches. And so, my area of expertise is certainly nuts and bolts, property management, time management, communication, but also fees. So just to remind everybody, the book is going to print, PM Fee Scripts Secrets. Get your free copy at pmfeescriptsecrets.com. Just got to pay for shipping, but it is the most comprehensive textbook and answer to the discounting problem in the industry. It's all about teaching you how to win your fees with confidence. And it's got over 50 scripts for every fee objection you can think of, plus 34 fees and fee packages charged over 3 countries with the actual amounts that agents are getting for them as well. So it's a good educational tool, really good handbook to have on the shelf, a reference tool to have in the car. That's the way it's been written, as a handy, useful tool to stay profitable.
Awesome. Darren Hunter, thank you very much for being on the BDM Coach podcast show. Everyone out there, looking forward to hearing about your amazing results from putting these scripts and dialogues in place. If your new business isn't on fire, give us a call.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you.